Introduce the coin. This is the 1958 Australian 1 penny, bearing the first portrait of Queen Elizabeth II with the legend, De Gratia Regina F. laughing face, and on the reverse, George Kruger Gray's leaping kangaroo. 2. Historical and numismatic context. Origins of the Australian penny. Introduce Australia's pre-decimal system, pounds, shillings, pence, and how the penny was equivalent in size and weight to the British penny. Introduction of the kangaroo design. In 1938, George Kruger Gray introduced the distinctive kangaroo reverse, which remained until decimalization. Queen Elizabeth II's first portrait. Mary Gillick crafted the laureate bust of young Elizabeth II, which first appeared after her accession in 1952 and was used broadly on Australian coinage during the 1950s. 3. Design details. Obverse, Queen's portrait description, laureate bust of Elizabeth II, facing right, with a wreath tied with a ribbon. Around it, the legend, plus Elizabeth II de Gratia Regina F. D., the designer's initials, MG, Mary Gillick, appear on the shoulder. Truncation reverse, kangaroo design imprint, a bounding kangaroo leaping left, the inscription, Australia, above, penny, below, a 7-pointed Federation star to the left of the kangaroo, and the date, 1958, beneath the tail. The initials, KG, for George Kruger Gray appear above the tail. Mint varieties, Melbourne Mint, no punctuation after, penny, Perth Mint, Y, after, penny, indicates Perth Mint origin, and appears in catalogues as the Y variety. Mintage, approximately 10 million from Melbourne and about 14.4 million from Perth. 4. Circulation and decimalization. Circulation roll, it served as 1/12 of a shilling and then, after decimalization, converted to a value of 0.833 cents, though penny coins were not officially demonetized and remained legal tender until removed from circulation. Decimal shift, Australia moved to decimal currency on February 14, 1966. Replacing the pound with the dollar, the penny ceased to be used in everyday transactions, though not formally demonetized. 5. Collectability and value. Current value guides, AUD Melbourne variety, from about 45 cents in low grade to $130 to $178 for gem. Uncirculated examples. Y, Perth, variety, similar scale, from 45 cents up to $122 to $161. Other estimates, e.g. all coin values. Melbourne Mint coins range from 90 cents up to $30 plus depending on condition. Proof and specimen strikes, collectors can find proof versions, Melbourne and Perth, issued to collectors, 1,506 from Melbourne, 1,028 from Perth, with higher premiums. Rarity and appeal. Though mintages are high, well-preserved or proof finishes remain desirable, especially with clear legends, sharp design elements, and original luster. 6. Conclusion. Summarize the coin's significance, a symbol of Australia's heritage, a piece of numismatic artistry, and a transitional artifact bridging the monarchy, pre-decimal currency, and a modernizing Australia. Close with something like, whether you're a collector or a history buff, the 1958 penny is more than just copper, it's a tangible snapshot of a nation in motion. Full script word count estimation. Introduction, 250 historical context, design details, circulation and decimalization, collectability and value, conclusion. Here are some detailed reference images of the 1958 Australian penny featuring Queen Elizabeth II with the inscriptions, Dei Gratia Regina FD, a richly storied coin that's perfect for a clean, engaging 4,000-word YouTube script. Let's dive into its history, symbolism, design, and cultural context. 1. Historical and numismatic background. Origins and pre-decimal era. The Australian penny was part of the pre-decimal currency system of the Australian pound, used from 1911 until decimalization in 1966. It mirrored British pre-decimal pennies in size, weight, and value, and until 1964, continued to feature monarchs including George V, George VI, and Elizabeth II. Decimalization and end of an era. Decimal currency arrived on February 14, 1966, ending the penny's circulation. A 1D coin equated to approximately 0.8333 cents, but the legacy of the penny lives on in collections and cultural memory. 2. Design and iconography. Obverse, front, features the young laureate bust of Queen Elizabeth II, facing right. This design, known as the first portrait, was crafted by Mary Gillick, whose initials MG appear in use near the shoulder. The Latin legend, plus Elizabeth, 2, Gratia, Regina, F laughing face : translates to, Elizabeth II, by the grace of God, Queen, Defender of the Faith. This title reflects long-standing tradition in Commonwealth coinage. Reverse, back, displays a leaping kangaroo, emblematic of Australia, surrounded by Australia above and penny below. The date 1958 lies beneath the tail, with designer George Kruger Gray's initials KG near the tail. The Melbourne Mint's version lacks a dot after penny, while the Perth Mint struck versions, marked Y, included .3. Production and varieties. Mintage figures. In 1958, the Melbourne Mint, no mint mark, produced approximately 10 million pennies, while the Perth Mint, with Y mint mark, struck around 14.4 million. Material and specs. These coins were made of bronze, composed of 97% copper, 2.5% zinc, and 0.5% tin. They weighed around 9.45 g, measured about 30.8 mm in diameter, and featured a plain edge. .4. Cultural significance and Latin motto. The Latin phrase, Dei Gratia Regina Fd, is rooted in royal tradition. It denotes the monarch's authority being ordained by divine grace and her role as defender of the faith, a significant touchstone of Commonwealth identity. The simplified legend, dropping, Queen of all the Britons, marked Australia's emerging national identity within the evolving Commonwealth structure. 5. Collectability and value. Circulated values for circulated coins vary. In average condition, VG to EF, prices range roughly from 45 cents to 3.00 depending on condition. Uncirculated and proof. Uncirculated, AU, UNC, coins can fetch AUD 6 to 9, while rare proof specimens, P, especially graded, can reach upwards of AUD 391 to 1,178 depending on condition and certification. 6. Structuring your 4,000-word YouTube script. To craft a compelling, clean script, consider this outline. 1. Introduction. Present the coin visually and introduce its era, Australia under Queen Elizabeth II, pre-decimal currency. 2. Historical context. Explain pre-decimal currency, the role of the Australian penny, and the transition to decimalisation in 1966. 3. Design elements. Dive into Mary Gillick's Obverse design, the symbolism of the laureate portrait, and George Kruger Gray's iconic kangaroo. 4. Latin inscription. Decode Dei Gratia Regina Fd, exploring its legacy and why it was retained through 1964. 5. Mint details and varieties. Detail the differences between Melbourne and Perth mint issues, versus no. Versions, Y mark, and production numbers. 6. Physical characteristics. Discuss weight, size, composition, and edge, making the script accessible yet informative. 7. Collecting and value. Highlight where to find coins today, in collections, auctions, or online, explaining grading categories, circulated, UNC, proof, with illustrative examples. 8. Cultural reflection. Reflect on how the coin symbolizes Australia's cultural identity, monarchy ties, and numismatic heritage. 9. Conclusion. Sum up its place in history, its beauty, and why it continues to captivate collectors and history buffs alike. Here's a visual of the 1958 Australian penny featuring Queen Elizabeth II, first portrait, Obverse, with the legend Elizabeth II Dei Gratia Regina F laughing face, and the classic kangaroo design. Reverse coin overview and historical context. Obverse, laureate bust of Queen Elizabeth II by Mary Gillick, with the Latin inscription, Elizabeth II, by the grace of God, Queen, Defender of the Faith.